Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. And this video is a follow-up to the video I did about my original Pylontech Extra 2000 battery that had developed a problem, and I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this video in case you haven't seen it. But yeah, I wanted to do a follow-up video to basically take apart that Pylontech battery, have a look what's inside, and basically test all the pouch cells that remain to see how much capacity they've lost since the battery was new, which is about 7 years ago, and also have a look at the bad one and see what sort of state that's in. So without further ado, let's have a look at the footage.
Okay, so I'm going to test each one of these. All of these cables are actually connected together, so it's not like these two go to one of the cells and these two go to another and these two go to another. They're all at exactly the same voltage, so they're all just in parallel. So it doesn't really matter which one you use, and that means I can't sort of charge individual cells separately. So there is a balance lead, but these wires are incredibly thin, and it's going to be really hard to get enough current down these to balance these such large packs very easily. So looking at the charger at the moment, this is saying that you see one of these cells is way out of balance with the others, but to bring that up to 3.35 volts like the other two down this tiny little cable is going to take a very long time. So I'm going to leave that to go and see what happens. If it's going to take too long, I'm going to have to find some other way to try and balance the pack before I can start doing the testing. But what I have figured out is this pack, which is the last pack, only has 3 cells in it, whereas each of the other 3 has 4 cells in it. So this is in fact a 15S, not a 16S like I originally thought. I thought each of these had 4 in, so 4 4s would be 16, but it is actually a 15S. Yeah, they got 3 lots of 4, and this last one, pack number 4, little 4 there, pack number 4, this one only has 3 in it. And this is the bad one with the big bulge in it. There was quite a strong smell of probably what is the electrolyte when I opened up the case again, so it's definitely leaking. This one it's not healthy at all. So this first cell that's a bit lower than the others, well, a bit lower than the others, it was basically depleted, whereas the other two still were at their nominal voltage. But you can see anyway, this first one has a much higher internal resistance than the other two. So I think that one's got a bit of a problem as well, even though the pack isn't swollen or anything. There's definitely something not quite right by the fact that that one had basically gone down to empty when the other 2 cells were still holding their nominal voltage. So I wonder if that's got some kind of internal short or something. What I might just do is try and change over the balance wire for pin 1, just to make sure it's nothing to do with that wire, and then I'll get it to recalculate the internal resistance and see if it makes any difference. Swap the lead over for a different one. Let's just see what it calculates the... No, see, it's still really high. Definitely some kind of a problem there. So And I think there's something weird about this balance connector that's causing that strange voltage difference, because it seems to happen with every single pack. So I think there's something screwy going on with the way this is all connected up. It's not like a normal balance lead. But yeah, so I started to take this pack apart, the one which has got just 3 cells in it, and you can see that it's been packed out in the bottom with just spacers. That, I think, is where the norm, if I was to take apart the other ones, I think those would have, that would be full right up to the bottom there. But in this case, I think it's going to, oh, there you go, you can see better now. So it's just got spaces here, but I think it would have actual pouch cells in there in the other ones. So you can see the pouch cells just slightly down the edge there, but I'm going to take this apart so I can see what's going on with the actual individual pouches, but it might take me a while. Okay, so I've managed to open it all the way up now, and we can see the connectors. Yeah, so there's 2 pouches for in parallel for each cell. So you've got 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, and they're wired onto this PCB. This is the positive here, so you've got 2 positives for the 2 pouches going across to the negatives at this side. So this is where the main battery negative comes from. So you've got the negative here going over to the positive, which then goes up this track and over to the next set of 2 pouches, which is, this is their negatives, coming across to their positives, and then going across again to the next set of batteries, and you've got their positives coming across to here, which was then the main positive out. And these are the balance leads, and this one at the front here, this grey one, this is actually comes down and is part of this track here. So this is the first positive. So this balance lead will give you the first positive, and then this is the next positive, and then these 2 are actually both connected to the same set. I suspect in one of the other ones where you've got 4 cells in it, that actually this lead will connect to a terminal that goes to the last 2. But for this one, this one's actually redundant because it is the same as that one. But it doesn't explain to me why there was this strange voltage thing, unless it's a problem with my iCharger. But anyway, now that I've got this off, what I might do is solder on a more substantial set of balance leads onto the main negative, and then to each of the positives, and then using this I can then charge and balance the pack properly, and what I'll do is I'll probably thread it through and just leave it hanging out, and I can use it then for I can just leave it there. It won't do any harm if I manage to put the pack back together. But yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do next, and then see if I can then finally charge it and see what happens. But these pouches all look really good. There's no bulging on any of these ones, so we'll see. I suspected the other pouches all contain 4 pairs, and it's just this end one that contains just 3 and some packing. So it is definitely a 15S. But this is the bad one, the one that was swollen, and I think it's pretty obvious from this which 2 are the bad ones. It's these 2. They're much fatter than the rest. You can see it's really, really puffy. So this pair, which makes up a single cell, this will be the bad one, and this will have much reduced capacity compared to each of these. But I'll test it all, and I'll give the results, and we'll see just how badly degraded those 2 are, or that cell is, and why that will, wreck the rest of the pack. Really, I need to get a couple of replacement ones of these, and unsolder them from this circuit board and solder a couple of replacements in, and maybe I could get the pack up and running again. But it's finding ones of exactly the same size and capacity, etc. So I'm not holding out too much hope, but I'll keep them on hand for now. But like I say, for now, let's just do a test and see what we've got. So this is the damaged pack, and you can see which cell is the bad one, obviously, number 4. The others are all charged up to full, but you can see what the problem is. If I try and charge this, you'll see that that pack starts charging really fast, and then what happens is it gets to its top voltage, 3.6 volts, and then it just kind of drops all the way back down to the voltage it just started at, about 3.2 or something. So and if you let it get to 3.6 or thereabouts and then you stop the charge, it just slowly drops straight back down to 3.2 or whatever. So it clearly can't hold a charge, and this is obviously what the problem was with the whole pack. But the other ones seem to be fine. So the problem is just that this is these two blown pouches are the reason this entire pack has stopped working. So all I need to do is find some replacements for them, and I should be able to get this pack up and running again. So let's just see, this is at 3.5 now. If I stop it, see how quickly that's dropped back down straight away, look. So basically those pouches have had it, they can't hold a charge at all. So I'll finish up my testing to do the results, but what I might do is remove these 2 pouches from this thing, because they smell, so they're obviously leaking as well. And then I can dispose of those and wait for a time when I can get some kind of replacement. So I've hooked up the 2 fat pouches, the bad ones, these 2, up to this bulb. I'm going to drain it till it's completely flat, so that I can then remove them safely. And then what I'm going to do is, using a sharp knife, I'm going to cut through the tabs at the top, and then I can hopefully remove these 2 completely from the pack, leaving the other 3 cells in perfect working order. And you can see at the moment it is at there you go, 2.74 volts, and it's dropping. So I'll do that until it gets down to basically as low as it can go, and then let's say take them out. Right, so I want to take these 2 bad pouches off because I think they're leaking slightly and smelling, so I want to detach them from the PCB so I can dispose of them at the battery recycling place at the council dump. And so I suspect that there's like a double-sided sticky tape layer between each pouch, which will make peeling one away from the other one very difficult. Certainly don't want to do that on against the good pouches, because in my experience, when you try and do that, it tends to damage the good cell. So what I'm going to have to do is first is cut through the metal tabs and try and leave enough left over hanging out of the underside of the PCB so that I can grip it with a pair of pliers, melt the solder on the top and extract what remains of the tab. So yeah, I need to cut through both of those, and then try and take the first pouch off from the second pouch, and if it won't come away easily, it doesn't matter if I damage the second one because it's a bad one anyway. If it won't come away easily, then what I'll do is I will just have to go outside in the fresh air and literally cut through the pouch itself to remove all the contents and just leave the part of the back part of the pouch bag that's stuck to the next good cell alone, so that it won't affect the next good cell. So, but I would want to do that outside because it will give off fumes which I don't particularly want to breathe in. So, I've discharged these fully. I connected a bulb across them until it went out, so they're fully discharged. There's no power in there, and because it's lithium iron phosphate, there's no real risk of it catching fire. They don't catch fire. They don't have thermal runaway like the other types of lithium ion batteries. So yeah, first thing to do then would be to try and cut through these tabs. So I've got a craft knife here, and I'll see if I can get through that. Cut through this tape as well. I'll have to put some new tape on there once I've managed to extract those. I'll put some new tape around these batteries. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. It's going to be difficult to cut through this and leave a small amount of the tab. I might have to literally cut it flush, which is going to be a bit of a pain, but right, okay, I've come outside because I accidentally punctured the bag, so I have to do it out here. I have to excuse the sound. It's raining, but I'm under a cover. So yeah, you can see I just punctured the bag there. Oh, yeah, you can smell it even now. Right, that's the first one detached. Oh, they're not actually stuck together. This is really good. So there's no double-sided tape between them. So actually that makes it nice and easy for me to dispose of this now. Take that piece off. And it means I can leave them out here tonight in the air, and it won't cause any problems for the good cells because I can take them back in the house. Okay, that's them both. That's the second one. Now the others are all good. You can see where I've cut those tabs. So I might be able to grip that with a with a pair of pliers, you know, to unsolder it and pull it out. But for these ones, I'm not going to be able to. So it's going to make it tricky to get those out now. So what I'm going to do now, because these cells are all good, is I'll put some fresh tape around them because it's good for them to be bound together. Put some fresh sellotape around them, tidy this bit up, stick that on there for now, and that'll be that. should be all good again. I'll stick these sticker things back on. Get protection. Done. So I've connected the remaining pouches back up again. Just going to charge them up now to make sure that I haven't damaged them. Make sure that they keep holding a charge, but they're looking okay so far. So let's set this to charge, and we'll leave that going and see what happens at the end.
So after all that testing, what have we learned? Well, we've learned that all of the packs currently have about 40 amp hours of capacity remaining. So that's about 80% of their original capacity. It's probably slightly higher than that. I didn't charge them to the absolute top voltage, and I didn't discharge them to the absolute bottom voltage, but it gives a good indication. We're certainly looking about 80% or more of their original capacity. The block that had the bad pouches in it has not fared as well as the others, which is kind of what I would expect, because it had those weak cells in it. The rest of that block probably was working a bit harder, and so it's showing slightly more degradation than the other blocks. So that one only has about what was it, about 37 amp hours. The others are all about 40, so it's a bit slightly lower, and I've had it sitting at a full state of charge for about a week now, and I just tested it, and yeah, one of the pouches is losing charge faster than the other two. So I think there's definitely a case of it's worn a bit more than the other blocks because of those bad pouches that were in there. So it's still usable though. I think it's gonna hold its charge long enough for daily cycling. It's just if you wanted to hold onto the power for a week at a time or something, you're going to start losing some. But this new one that I've now cut down to being a 3-pack block, is showing slightly more degradation. So, but there you go. I hope you found that interesting. I'm still on the lookout for an old extra 2000 battery that's coming up for spares or repairs on a number of different sites like eBay and that sort of thing. And when I eventually find one, hopefully I can purchase it for not very much money and see if I can make this whole battery good again, or at least up to sort of 40 amp hours, which would be perfectly adequate. There was a couple that came up a little while ago. I saw them, but they were all the way up in Leeds, and they were literally on there for about a half a day, but there was yeah, a couple of old ones that someone was selling for just £100 that they didn't work, and that would have been ideal, but unfortunately Leeds is a very long way from here, so yeah, I hopefully find something a bit closer to home. But anyway, yep, that's the results. Hope you found that interesting. Stay tuned. There'll be more to come on this, I'm sure, when I eventually get hold of another pack. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video. Cheers.